All right. Well, this kind of a long way around the old barn to get to where we're going, but I'm interested in it.
Okay.
But in this case, so I guess you actually do some of the going out to an old house and saying, yeah, we can salvage this wood
Oh,
out of
absolutely.
this house.
Yeah, and what I'm getting into lately is brokering these old houses. And it's funny, the first house that I saved, I like to say, is they were gonna. This gentleman was gonna demo this house. So he had like 4 guys.
When you say demo, you mean demolish.
Demolish,
A lot of
right.
us old coots, we think demo, oh, he's going to demonstrate it. But you
Okay,
mean
right,
demolish.
demolish, right.
All right.
And so when I came to him and said, you know, I'll give you $2,000-3,000 to let me find someone to find this house and carry it off, he was like flabbergasted. He's like, so let me get this straight. So I don't have to pay the $4,000 or $5,000 in labor cost to demo this, and you're going to give me $2,000 or $3,000 to find someone to haul it off and use it on 10 acres. And he was flabbergasted. And it's like, if we could educate people to understand that we can have business models like that, it'd be so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do understand that.
It took me 3 or 4 years to understand, to get to that process, that there are people out there that would love to have an old vintage house on their 10 acres. And but it's taken me a few years to get to that, to be educated on that.
And now you're kind of leading the way to the rest of
I'm
us.
trying, right.
Yeah. Which brings us to Mexia. You went up there to look at the house that the Sharps own.
Right.
And I gather they were thinking about demoing it, as you put it, at that point.
Right. Actually, they didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know whether to take some of the wood out. They didn't know. So they found my website, This Old Wood, and Old Texas Floors. So they called me, and then I found a gentleman out of Bastrop that had lost his house due to the fires, and so it was like a perfect matchup.
But you didn't find him first. You went up there and looked at the house first.
Right.
And
exactly.
when you saw it, what did you think?
I was like, this house needs to be saved.
Why?
Well, it was built in 1915, and it just had the beautiful longleaf pine. It had the original the original bathtub, sink. I mean, it basically hadn't been touched for 100 years, almost 100 years, and it needed to be saved.
Now, I saw that house too. Any
Oh,
normal old boy
Okay.
walking down the street and looking at that house would not say, hey, we need to save that thing. I mean,
Right.
it didn't look that good when I looked at it. I mean, it's kind of not even, and,
Right.
you know, it was run down.
Well, it's probably going to take about $20,000 to renovate it and get it to. Now, the good thing about moving a house is, over the years, when it's doing the wobble and part of the house is kind of sinking, when they lift it up and when they put it back onto the new foundation, then it's going to be squared off. It's going to be leveled. So they're going to level it right when they set it down, basically.
So it'll look like it looked in the beginning.
Exactly. Right.
Not the way it looks now.
Right.
And you can see
Exactly.
that.
I can see that. Right.
All right.
But it's taken me years to get
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So you told them, okay, look, don't sell this house, don't demolish this house, sell this house and move it. And
Right.
what did they think of that idea?
They thought it was a great idea. They basically hadn't really looked at that approach, and actually it took about a month to find someone, because there are certain houses. I just brokered a house and or sold a house or negotiated a house in Terrytown that was a smaller house, pier and beam, 1,200 square feet, with no heritage trees in the way, to get in the way for someone to move out. And that took a week to find someone that wanted that house to move to their property. And the house.
So in a
Mexia,
market where it's you're going months at a time before you get a nibble, I mean, that's pretty fast.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
For a traditional sale. I mean, you sit
Right.
around waiting for a buyer for quite a while.
Right, right. And I have to be careful that I'm not a real estate broker. I'm not an attorney. I just basically get the two parties together, and I write up a very basic agreement stating what they want from each other, and I haven't had any problems so far on that.
Mm-hmm. And how do you find these? You got the people wanting to unload the house. How do you find the person wanting to take on the load?
I have people calling me all the time. I've got a list of about 20 people that are looking for houses right now. And there's certain criterias, you know, size, age, they want a certain architectural, whether they want Victorian, arts and crafts, mission style. So a lot of times, like if I do find a house, then it's not really their style that they're looking for. Mm-hmm. So they're looking for that one house that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. I gather you've seen this happen already. I mean, this house in Mexia is not the first one you did. You've seen people pick up a house that could have otherwise been demolished and moved and set up shop for another 100 years or whatever.
Right.
What goes through you when you see a process completed?
I absolutely love it. It's a great feeling to visualize or not visualize this house getting demolished in 4 hours, and it's going to sit in the landfill for 40, 50, 60 years doing nothing, and then being able to see this house moved and then someone be able to enjoy it, a family that can enjoy it for many years. Mm-hmm. So it's for the people that can appreciate the old vintage houses that are being saved.
And you appreciate them?
Absolutely.
What do you appreciate about them? What is it that stirs you?
Well, you know, the houses that are built today, they're prefabbed. They come up in 30 days. The houses built in 1920, it really had a lot more arts. You really were an artisan back then, putting up the stucco, putting up the laths, putting up all of the wood designs, and they would work on a house for 6 months. But it was all the craftsmen that took so long, and they took their time doing it. And a lot of those houses are still standing, rather than the other houses that were built in 1960 because of the craftsmen on it.
Mm-hmm. These guys, there's certain kindredness, it sounds like, between what you do and what they did.
Right. Yeah, and there are other people doing this. I'm not the only one. And I think people are starting to understand it. And I think reclaimed wood is becoming, is starting to get a footing in the last 5 years or so.